Welcome back. This is Challenge 2 Answer video. Last time we went over what you'd be doing to complete this challenge, which was paint a black square every other one, and we were going to use the checker array to do this, which was getting passed in objects with our makeChecker function. So we did a console.log on our checker array to see what was being pushed in, and we got 32 objects in our checker array. And at index 0 was an object, and inside of it it had two properties, an x and a y, and corresponding values that was pushed in. So let's see how exactly we could paint these squares using the checker array. What we can do is make a for loop and set a variable of I and equals 0, because we want it to first start at index 0. And then while I is less than checker.length, then we want it to do I plus plus. Now, so that way this is going to know that what index we're at, because that's what we're trying to do, is make it so I is an index. So that way we can cycle through index 0 through 31. We need to make another variable. I'm going to call mine C, and it's going to equal our checker array, and for the index that we're going to pass into it is going to be I. So that way C is going to equal checker array at index 0 and then so on through 31. Now what we can do is we can set up our fill style and fill rec. So ctx.fillStyle, and I want to do black squares. Fill rec. Now for fill rec, we know that we need to pass it in four values: an x coordinate, and then a y coordinate, and then width and height. For the width and the height, we know that we want it to equal our cell width, so we can just pass it in the variable of cell width. And then for our x coordinate and our y coordinate, what we're going to use is C, which is going to be our checker array at index 0 or through 31. So we can call C, and then we need to call the property. So the first one is going to be x, and then we can do the same for y. So C, and then period y, and then we can see what this looks like. Alright, as you can see, all the blocks, so it printed out all of our blocks, all of our object blocks, but the reason why it's all close together is because what we gave it was the index and then I, so 1 or 0 for the first one and 0 for the second one, and then we're just passing in values all the way through 31. So it's going from 0 to 31. Now what we need to do is we need to make them more spaced out. And one thing that we can do is we can times it by our cell width. So that way it gets spaced out. So we can just go right here and then times it by the cell width. And then as well times it by the cell width too. Save it. Alright, and there we go. And then that's our checkerboard. Also, we can go ahead and set our stroke rec and our stroke style. And our stroke style is going to equal what our fill rec is. Or sorry, our stroke rec will equal what our fill rec is. Alright, and that is challenge 2.